Hello, I'm Jeff Lehmkuhler from the University of Kentucky. I'm a beef cattle specialist there, and it's a good time to be thinking about some of our potential challenges this year with regards to short hay supplies, whether that be poor performance in the spring due to a cool, wet spring, or drought conditions like we had in June that have limited first cuttings, or any other factors. And so when we start thinking about how we can manage some of our short hay supplies, we've got several options. One of those that we talk a lot about is time. And so if we reduce the time access that beef cattle have to hay, it has been shown through numerous research studies to reduce the amount of hay that's wasted, and that can be a hay savings for us. And mature cows that are in good body condition score, that are receiving good quality hay, that are mid-gestational, non-lactating cows going through the winter, the work would show that we can get down to about 8 hours a day of access to hay, and they will get all the nutrition they need to maintain body condition score. The key on that is, again, that they are mature cows in good body condition score, and that they are not thin and they have a good body condition score, that we don't have to put weight back on them, that they are dry, non-lactating, and then they're at that mid-gestational stage of production. Another opportunity that we have is to try to use some type of a good bale ring or hay feeding device. There's been some research that has shown that moving to some of these cone type feeders reduces the amount of hay that's pulled out past the ring, if you will, and reduces the hay waste. And so again, a lot of times we can be 15 to 25% or higher in hay waste whenever we're trying to feed that conserved hay, and anything we can do to minimize that is going to give you more hay that can keep that animal through the winter. Another option that we have is switching to grain, and in other words, we're going to pull in our protein and energy from a commodity feed. And so when we think about using commodities, we like to try to minimize those that have starch. So we use more of the byproduct feeds like distillers grains, soybean hulls, beet pulp pellets, etc., and reduce that corn and wheat if we can. It doesn't mean we can't use those if it's not or if it's price effective for us to look at that. But on a forage-based system, it's better to try to stay with some of these highly digestible fibrous byproducts. When we move that way, always price those out on a cost per nutrient basis. In other words, how much is it going to cost you per unit of protein or pound of protein? How much is it going to cost you per pound of TDN? And then lastly, don't overlook our opportunity to use technologies. By technologies, I'm thinking of some of the feed additives that will give us more for our feed, or more out of our feed. Some of our ionophores that reduce the amount of methane that's going to be produced from fermentation of these fibrous feeds is going to allow more of those carbon units to go into energy for the animal to use. And some of our preliminary work that was done many years ago would suggest that using 200 milligrams of an ionophore a day in a mature beef cow, you can reduce the hay needs by about 15% to maintain that body condition on those cows. And so again, there's another way to try to stretch the hay by using an ionophore. The one downside with an ionophore for mature cows is it needs to be mixed in with at least 1 pound of grain supplement a day. And so you're going to have to feed those cows to get that feed additive into them. But those are a few things to think about with regards to trying to stretch maybe some limited hay supplies and give yourself that couple extra days of feeding on the limited hay that you have for these beef cows as you move into the winter. Maintain those cattle in good body condition score and keep them productive so that they're ready to go out there in the springtime. Hope that gives you some useful information, and if you've got any questions, be sure to get a hold of Dr. Colt Knight or your extension office for more information.
This video was brought to you by the University of Maine Cooperative Extension Grazing Behavior Lab, the Maine Beef Producers Association, and the Maine New Farmers Project. And a special thank you to Dr. Jeff Lehmkuhler